Hi, this is Professor Hankinson, and I just wanted to do a quick informational video about our upcoming midterm exam. So as you know, you will be receiving your midterm exam on Wednesday, March 15th at midnight, so just in a few hours. And then after that, you will have about a week to work on the exam. The exam is due Tuesday, March 21st at 11:59 p.m. So almost exactly a week. And so I give you extra time, not because I think it will take a week for you to complete the exam, but since we don't have a formal spring break, I just wanted to give you a week to either take a breather before you start working on it, or work on it, get it done, submit it, and then just have some free time if that's possible. Okay. So anyways, but if you want to take a week, that's fine. Okay. You can kind of work at your own pace. Now, as you know that, or as you hopefully know, the exam is an essay exam, okay? And so as you'll see in a moment, there are 6 essay questions, and you choose 4 of the questions to answer, okay? And that these are obviously open booked. It's not timed. Well, I guess it is. You have a week. And you can really pull, and there's the expectation that you pull on all the resources that we've covered in this first half of the semester when answering these questions, okay? And so let's go ahead. There are 2 places on the Canvas site that I want to point out to you that are relevant for the midterm exam. So let me go ahead and share my screen, and we'll take a look at the Canvas site. Okie dokie. So there is our Canvas site. And if you go to the home page, see how it's all laid out. And you'll want to go down to topic 6. That's what we are doing this week, the topic on reproductive policy. And so there you have it. Okay. And then right after that is the midterm exam. Okay. Now, before you go to the midterm exam questions, and those will be available at midnight tonight, you'll want to check out the midterm exam information. So click on that, okay? So make sure you read this before you start working on the exam. There is a link here to the midterm exam questions, okay? But there's also a link on the main front page of the Canvas site as well. I'm not going to go through all of this, but I'm just going to highlight some of the more important pieces of information on here. Okay. So as I said, this is an essay exam. There are 6 questions. You choose the 4 that you want to answer. Okay. And the best answers, as it says here, will really pull on all of the course material that we've done throughout the course of the semester. So that would include the topic lectures, commentary, the textbook, and any of the articles that we've read, including those that we've used for discussion. So when I grade your exam, I'm really making sure that you're not just referencing the lecture or not only referencing the textbook, but that you're pulling upon all of the resources from the exam. Now, you don't, from the course so far. Now, you don't have to use every resource answering every question. I'll be looking at it holistically. Okay. So when I read your whole exam, I expect that you pull on it for all of those materials, but you don't need to do it for each question. Maybe for one question, it's the textbook and articles. Maybe for another a question, it's the course commentary and the lectures. Okay. And the textbook. Okay. So whatever works for you. All right. Now, additional resources are not needed. Okay. Everything you need to know to answer these questions is in the course materials. Now, if there, for some extraordinary reason, you want to reference some external source, that's fine, but check it out with me first. I'll be around all this time. I'm always logged in, well, at least from about, 9 to 6 or so. And so just, make sure that you drop me a text or an email so that I can approve, like say, yeah, sure, you go ahead and do that. Okay. And then finally, how long should the exam be? Well, look, I tell students, answer the questions. That's how long it should be, but I'll give you a ballpark. So each question should be about 2 double-spaced pages, okay? Double-spaced typed pages, okay? So that would be a total of 8 pages. Now, I do want you to leave the question in the, I want you to have the question from the exam above your answer. That helps me grade. It also helps you answer the question because it reminds you of what all the different prompts are, okay? When you include those questions in your exam, that doesn't add to or subtract from your overall page count, okay? I'm really looking at the text that you write. So it should be ballpark about 8 pages long, not including the questions that have been inserted, okay? Now, if you go a little bit under 8 pages, that's fine. A little bit over, get to 10 pages, that's fine. But if you're looking at your exam and the whole exam, it takes about 3 pages to answer 4 questions, you are going to want to go back and develop your answers and use more information from the resources to support the points that you're making. If it goes way over 8 pages, like if we're getting into 12, 13, that's too much. You're going to want to go back and edit it out. You don't need to tell me everything you know about the subject. You want to answer the question. Okay. So if you're including extraneous information, you don't need to do that. Really tailor your answers to the question at hand. Okay. And I will leave it to you to read the rest. It gives you some more tips. It also tells you about how you should do citations for it. Okay. And so that is, make sure you read that information page because that give you expectations and answer a lot of your questions. If you don't, if all your questions aren't answered, then feel free to drop me an email. All right, now let's take a look at the questions themselves, which you'll have access to in a little bit, okay? But I just wanted to get this video done, before the questions dropped, okay? All right, so you go back to this main page and you scroll down, scrolling. And you will come to the questions. There they are. Okay, you'll click on that. And then you'll say, download the exam questions. And then you'll obviously download them, but I'm going to just bring them up in the window here. Okay. So I've given you some reminders here. I'm like so extra remindery, right? So, but anyways, make sure you read the midterm information before you start. Oh, and also make sure that you save your exam to the hard drive, okay? Or to a zip drive. I've had so many students who work on the exam and then they submit it and it's a blank document. And I'm like, whoops, looks like you submitted the wrong file. Then they go back and they didn't save any of their work. Make sure that you save it to your hard drive or zip drive before you start working on it, and then save periodically if you don't have autosave. All right, let's take a look at these questions. Okay, question 1. The first question has to do with describing the term feminist. Okay, it says, describe what it is meant by the term feminism, making sure to address differences within feminism and how what it means to be a feminist has changed over time. Then, thinking about the intersection of feminism and public policy, describe 3 concrete examples of how feminism has influenced the public policy process in the United States. And the best answers will use concrete examples that are derived from topic 1 through 6. And, the best ones will use examples from the different topics. Okay. So that you can use textbook, court cases, any articles. So the best answers will use examples that are derived from topic 1 through 6 course material that are from different time periods in the United States history and identify the specific ways that feminism influenced public policy and the influence the policy had on or did not have on American society. Okay, that is the first question. The second question focuses on public policy. Okay, so this first question kind of deals with topic 1, but then applies topic 1 to to the other topics. Topic 2 focuses mostly on topic 2, or question 2 focuses mostly on topic 2. It says the process of public policy is a vital aspect of American government and politics. In this essay, first explain what public policy is and why it's important to study public policy. Next, describe the different steps in the public policy process. There's a whole video that is dedicated to that. Explaining the role policy communities, historical context, and institutions of American government play in the making of public policy, okay? Then, considering the different steps in the policy process, which two steps do you find are the most important for making policy? Why? Explain. And the best answers will reference the topic 2 lectures and the die readings. It says they're topic 3. That's a misprint. I'll go back. That should say topic 2. No, and the die readings. Okay. This one focuses on topic 2. Okay. And so, just one of the things I tell my students is, when it comes to the critical thinking questions, like, hey, which two of the steps do you think are most important and why? Really dig in there, right? Don't just be like, step 1 and problem identification and agenda setting, right? I mean, like, really make a strong case, think outside of the box. And, there's no right or wrong answer. Okay. You could say policy evaluation is the most important step. You could say that, make a case for why that's the case, convince me. Okay. For the third question of the cases covered in topic 3, Reed v. Reed, Frontero versus Richardson, Craig v. Boren, the United States v. Virginia. Which two do you think are the most important in the effort to further gender equality in the United States? Why these two and not the others? Okay. So don't just say, oh, it's Reed and Craig. Tell me why it's these and not Frontero and the VMI case, okay? Why these two and not the others? Explain. In your answer, make sure to describe the main facts of the case, the decision of the court, and the general importance of this case to gender equality. The best answers will reference to topic 3 course materials, including sex discrimination and a search for a standard. Okay, that excerpt from that other textbook. Okay, the fourth question is about women's suffrage, okay? So the struggle for women's suffrage was long and diverse and included groups that supported and did not support ratification of the 19th Amendment. First, describe the reasons for opposing the ratification of the 19th Amendment. Arguments embodied by the so-called antis movement, okay? Those who were against the ratification. Of these reasons for not ratifying, which ones do you think have been which do you think would have been most politically persuasive, given the prevailing norms and values of the early 20th century? Then it continues. Next, describe the two major reasons as outlined in the textbook in support of the ratification of the 19th Amendment. Given the time period, which of these two reasons do you think would be more effective in persuading people to support ratification? Explain. Okay. So, and feel free to pull on the article, the 2 videos that we watched for this. You've got a lot of articles to read, but then we had those 2 supplementary videos, and feel free to pull on that as well. Okay. And if you did get a chance to watch that, now, there's no expectation you would use this, but I posted that video from that class about the history of the ratification. If you watched that, feel free to pull on that as well, because that was some pretty interesting information, but there's no requirement that you do that, but that would be an appropriate external resource. Okay, so then we've got 2 questions that are dedicated to reproductive freedoms. The first one is, the textbook describes 3 phases that illustrate the way contraceptives have been defined in and regulated by public policy. Describe each of these phases, including the historical and judicial factors that shaped these definitions and the way these definitions impacted access to contraceptives. Given that the right to use contraceptives is predicated on the constitutional right to privacy established in Griswold, what impact do you think the Dobbs decision will have on access and affordability to contraceptives? Do you think the court will overturn Griswold? They overturned Roe, but they didn't overturn Griswold. Do you think that it will come to overturning the right to privacy as established in Griswold? Why or why not? Explain your answer. Okay. So you can pull upon that lecture, the post-Dobbs world lecture, in answering this question as well. But the phases of contraceptive policy are outlined in the textbook. Then describe the evolution of abortion policy in the United States prior to the Dobbs decision. The best answers will describe how and why abortion policy has changed and the role key Supreme Court decisions, Griswold, Roe, and Casey, played in that evolution. Okay. Following the decision in Dobbs, women and others who can get pregnant no longer have the constitutional right to an abortion. returning abortion policy in the United States to pre-Roe status. Okay. Now, for the discussion this week, you read this article, the Taylor article, and the author of Abortion is About Freedom, Not Just Privacy. So she considers the overturning of Roe a direct assault on the liberty of women. She states, the right to an abortion is an affirmation that women and girls have the right to control their own destiny. Without the ability to control when, where, how, and if one chooses to become pregnant or give birth, no other freedoms can be achieved. So without reproductive freedoms, we can't achieve other freedoms. That's what she's arguing. Would it first explain the meaning of this quote, referencing the article and other course material to develop your explanation? Next, do you agree with Taylor's assertion that no other freedoms are possible without reproductive freedoms first? Now, that's a pretty bold statement. Do you agree with Taylor's assertion? Why or why not? And you could agree with it in part, not fully. Feel free to just think critically about that quote. And there's no right answer, okay? But make sure that you make a case for your answer and you explain where you stand, okay? So those are the questions. I'm excited about them. I'm excited about everything, but I'm super excited to see how you answer them, okay? So look, here's the video. You watch it. Hopefully it gives you a little bit of insight. But like I said, I am around. So if you have questions, text me, call me, email me, or set up a Zoom meeting. I'd be happy to go over the questions. I can't give you the answers, obviously, but I can definitely help clarify any questions that you might have about the course material or clarify questions that you might have about the questions. I know you all are going to rock this exam. I know you're going to do great. I have great confidence in you. So have fun with it. Look forward to reading your answers, and hopefully you can find a little bit of rest and relaxation in this next week. Okay, thanks a lot for listening. I appreciate it, and I'll talk to you again soon.